sound system culture in the 50s to the UK, and now we have all of these subgenres of that same thing. And a lot of people don't understand that we wouldn't have any of it if it wasn't for that little island, you know?
That's the truth. All right, let me get down to my final two questions with you, sir. And if you've listened to my podcast, I'm sure you know what they're going to be. If you could create a Mount Rushmore that would be for jungle drum and bass music, what four faces would you put up there?
Before jungle drum and bass music?
No, four jungle drum.
Oh, four jungle. Okay. A Mount Rushmore. So four, right?
You get four faces, jungle drum and bass.
Okay. Potential Bad Boy.
Okay.
Congo Natty.
Mm-hmm.
Goldie. Oh my God, this is so hard, man. Because we got Marf Mac, we got Terry T, you know, we got,
you can't put so many, Marcus.
I know.
You're getting greedy.
You know, it's too, you know, then you'd have to have Fabio and Groove Rider, you know. I mean, because everyone played a different role, but you know, if you're talking about like innovators who helped to innovate the sound, you got Shut Up and Dance. I mean, I'm sorry, I screwed that whole question up.
No, you know what? You got three and then went off on a tangent for the fourth. But I'll give you that.
Like I got to three and then realized, like, how can you not have like Mark Mack and Digo and Reinforced, and you know, and then you can't have this conversation without Shut Up and Dance.
You know, the one that keeps getting thrown at me is a guy named Gerald.
Yes, because you know what? Juicebox. He used to make like some of the like template jungle, like, you know, in like the early '90s. You know.
I don't know, and that's where I learned things through the podcast. But I did learn Voodoo something was one of the songs.
Voodoo Ray, like
Voodoo
yeah,
Ray.
because that was in the Acid House period.
I listened to Voodoo Ray. And I was like, it's not my cup, to be honest, but it's good to know that this is the pioneers that created what we have today, right?
Yeah, I mean, the jungle that he was creating in the early, like all his early Juicebox record stuff, he was basically using reggae bass lines and breaks, and he had a massive influence on everyone. You know, those records are worth so much money. I'm proud to say I own those records, and you know, they're like iconic. You know, like yeah, so a guy called Gerald. I mean, definitely. I mean, but there's so many guys. Like, that's such an impossible question. But you know, really, I don't know who. Because you know what, I got to the three and then realized I had another three or four that would have to be there.
You know what I've said to people is, if you remember Mario Brothers 3, where you would go into that bonus level and it would give you the spinning things and you'd have to stop it to try and win, almost like a Keno machine or something, right? So we could do a Mount Rushmore that's like that with rotating faces, and you just hit a button and you can see which face you get. And you can throw in hundreds of faces in there that way, right?
Exactly. I mean, listen, I think I could probably do it if there was 10 faces. You know, like for me personally, I mean, everybody's got a different list.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. You want to do 10 faces, you're carving them into that stone. That's...
Yeah, exactly. Right?
You tell the labor guy that you hired to do 4, hey, we've decided to go with 10.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you.
You know what? Like,
but go ahead.
You have a last question?
No, I do, but go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I don't want you to think that I don't want people to think that I'm negative, but just in terms of what's happening in Toronto, like, a lot of people always say, what's going on in Toronto? And it's hard for me to, like, you know, that Sniper post was really an example. Because some people were like, it's amazing. And I guess it's all perspective, right? But because I have an idea of what was before and what's happening now, it's hard for me to not tell people the truth, you know? And it's gotten to the point, like, when I go over to England, obviously all of those guys want to come here. They're asking me that because they want to come here. And then they come here. Sometimes there's, like, 30 people at the party, you know? And they're playing with 2,000 people back home, you know, on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Like I stayed in Bristol, and the parties that I go to in Bristol, 1,500 to 2,000, maybe even more. You know, like the Jungle Awards probably had like 2,500, 3,000 people, you know, that's normal, right? So when they come here and there's like 100 people, you know, it's shocking for them. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just try to be realistic about what's happening. You know what I mean? And I always try to be optimistic, but it's tough when there's no new blood coming in, and then people say, "Oh well, it's up to you guys to bring the new blood in." But who's going to throw an all ages party with this ketamine epidemic going on? You know, and
Fentanyl's the problem.
Fentanyl, you know, laced cocaine. You know, it's you know, and kids are doing drugs, so it's one of these things, right? Like, the all ages thing stopped years ago because of these issues. Nobody wanted to take the chance.
Well, it's also, once again, it's money. I'm a person who threw all ages parties, and I was always willing to spend the extra $5,000-$6,000 with the club because I knew I would make it back at my door and through extracurriculars, if you will. But even now when I look at it, there's two venues I found, Opera House and Rockpile, both willing to do all ages. But the economics just aren't there right now. Like, if I have to invest in a whole culture, like I think about it, if I throw an all ages party tomorrow, what's going to get the 16 kids? You know, I've got to have a reason for them to come, not just, well, they're allowed. You know, like, you've got to target high schools or something. You got to go after that, you know what I mean? Like, even how did I find out about Jungle? Well, it was through being a raver as a kid, you know, and these kids aren't ravers today. So how are you going to drag the kids into your party?
You know, we have to salute radio for giving us the rave generation, because you know, even myself as a kid, you know, I was listening to hip hop and reggae at home because rave didn't exist anymore. So like, and I was listening to like Master Plan and you know, DJ X's show on Tequila and all these different shows, and now we don't have that, because you see, when kids are sitting at home now, they've got Spotify, they've got YouTube, so the machine is feeding them what they should be listening to. So they're listening to DJ Khaled, they're listening to Rihanna, they're listening to Jay-Z, they're listening to everything that the big corporate machine is. And I know, because I've got nieces, and my nieces know everything about hip-hop, like modern hip-hop. They're amazing. These kids, they know every single word. You know, they know all the R&B singers. It's amazing. And when I sit with them, I'm almost like overwhelmed. I'm like, wow, you guys know all of this stuff, you know? And but they have zero interest in dance music. You know, house music is the background music to hear when they go to an Italian restaurant. That's like elevator music to them. You know what I mean? It's not something that, you know, that generation's not even going to Cherry Beach. You know, and if they did, they would go because there's water right there. And they're outside. They're not even there for the music. Once again, that music's background, you know? So it's like, it's a much bigger problem than people make it. People think, if we just throw all ages parties, we're going to revive the scene. That's not how it is. It's like, culturally, things are different. Because even when I was growing up, when the rave scene started, people were listening to Tribe Called Quest, Shabba Ranks. That's what was being played on the radio. When kids rolled up to the venue, you'd hear Public Enemy blaring. Right? Now you could hear Chris Brown or some shit, you know, some mainstream stuff, right? So it's a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah, no, and I'm one of those people who said we got to go all ages, and then just when you sit down to start pounding the numbers out, it's like, it's not going to happen. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen over years, and we're going to lose a lot of money to try and do it, and I don't know who's going to invest in that. Not me as an individual, at least. If we had a whole cultural thing where a bunch of people started saying, let's do this, then maybe, and we could invest together. But I don't think any one person can do it.
The festivals, the mainstream festivals that are happening that are still pushing dubstep and EDM, mainstream EDM music, the kids are listening to that, you know? So unless they take a chance on underground music, which they won't, that's pretty much where we've lost that lane. Like, there was a point where I I think Destiny was involved with Digital Dreams, and we used to play there. So it was great because, there would be the big room EDM stuff happening. We would get to play underground music there, But now that whole split happened, and they just went full EDM because they don't see the benefit of playing underground music. You know what I mean? They feel like kids are here to see Skrillex. End of story.
That's all it is to them. It's all economics then. That's how it bean counters.
Everything else is just filler, right? Whereas a lot of the guys that we used to work with back in the day, like when Jose used to work for the government, he saw the benefit. Like, so you'd have to have Oren Isaacs, like he saw the benefit of pushing these alternate scenes, right? So because Gov, when they used to do those big Labor of Love parties, they would put us in like the Orange Room, and we were playing underground music. So they might have some mainstream music happening in other rooms, but they would have underground music happening. Because remember, there was like 5 clubs in that complex.
Yep.
So without having key people in those big positions pushing it, and I think that's the thing about the UK. Like what people don't understand about the UK is they get them right out of public school. I mean, they've got raver tots now, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. But hold on, you know what? One thing I want to say about raver tots, which I just learned myself, is that it's not meant to be geared towards the children. It's meant to be so that the people can bring their children.
Right, but the kids, that's the thing. The kids are hearing their parents play the music, then they're being brought to raver tots, and it's like an experience. I know when I went to Caravana, my parents would take me to Caravana when I was a little kid. That had a profound experience. The first sound system I ever actually witnessed was at Caravana on University Avenue. They set up a sound system.
That's awesome.
The first time I saw like 12 bass boxes, two stacks, and watch DJs tear it up on a lawn. So it's like these experiences. And the thing is, they get them at there's raves right out of high school, and then also too all of the festivals in England. There's so many festivals, Like I'm going to Boomtown this year, and Boomtown's a great example of everyone wants to go. So it's kind of like, and Boomtown is a underground festival. There might be some mainstream acts there, but it's 90% underground music.
And repping Canada to the fullest, I'm sure.
And gotta do it.
All right, the last question I have for you is if you could put 5 items in a vault that would encapsulate our rave culture. So in 20,000 years, they're going to dig up this vault, and we want them to know what the rave once was. What 5 items do you put in the vault?
I'd put a Malik X Radio London cassette. I would put, let me see, Roughneck cassette for sure. I'd definitely put, some early rave flyers, Psychosis, Delirium, Atlantis, Nitrous, Chemistry. Put those rave flyers in there. We need that. Really, all you need is music and flyers, right? What do you think?
You know what? I don't even need to put 5 items. I'll just put some music and a couple flyers. There you go.
Yeah.
That was you know what? I like the horns. What I miss is our horns crew. We got to bring the horns.
Horns and whistles, eh?
Yeah, you know what? The whistles were cute, and I used to do the whistling. But
Toronto was more of a whistle place, to be fair, only because we couldn't get the UK horn all the time. But now that we've all been going, there's a few horns in the city, and now every once in a while they sell them at Dollarama, which is great.
I was going to ask you, because I was actually looking. I went to an active Army surplus store, and the guy's like, nah. And then I was like, maybe a Canadian Tire? But I haven't gone yet. Like, where can you find foghorns, air horns?
You know what? If you go, like this year, James and I, because we had New Year's Eve, we went to Dollarama, and they had the authentic horn that they use in England. They had them there.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, we bought a bunch. Yeah. I still have a few. To be fair, I should have really loaded up, but I'm pretty confident that they'll have them next year.
Okay, well, good for you. I hope I can get my hands on some. Let me ask you, actually, before I let you go, what do you got in plans for 2019? What can we expect from Marcus Visionary and Clan?
Well, basically, Brad and I are running our labels together. So we've got Inner City Dance, which is mainly going to be focused on drum and bass and jungle. So we've got Inner City Dance. Then we just started a brand new jungle label, which is focused really on all things jungle. Whether it's ragga jungle or old school jungle sound or modern. And that's Stereo One Music. We just signed on Imran Graffiti, which is Workflow. He's from Toronto. And we also have RMS is doing remixes for us. I've done some stuff with Aries. Then for our bass music label, we've started a brand new bass music label called Inner City Dubs, which was just part of, we used to call it our bass music on Inner City Dance, Inner City Dubs, like an EP, Volume 1, Volume 2. So we decided to start a label called Inner City Dubs. And we've got the first 6 releases ready. I have a T.A.F mixtape, which is all my 140 stuff that I've made. It's 120 minutes, and that is coming out. And then I have a 6-track EP coming with that. And then in the summer, Junglers, don't worry, I have a jungle mixtape coming out, and I think we're coming up to number 4 on Stereo One Music. We just sent 2 off to be mastered. So tons of stuff in the pipeline, man. It's like so much on the go right now.
No wonder it's hard to get a hold of you then, sir.
Yeah, man, it's been hectic. Like when you called me to do that last interview, I was getting ready to go to Europe, and I just couldn't focus on anything else. I was, getting my dubs ready, getting my material ready, and it's the same thing now. I'm getting ready to go on tour in the U.S., like a 2-week tour.
Wicked.
Getting all my dubs ready, and it's hectic, but hectic is good, right?
Yeah, it's good to be busy, not to be.
I would love to see things get better in Toronto. We've got Run D&B. It's doing okay. It's in 1 loss now on Thursdays, and all the crews are there. Like every crew in the city, pretty much that wants to do a takeover does one. And a lot of people get their practice in there. So
that's awesome.
We've had Fat 32 and Create D&B and Dungeon Crew. So yeah, it's going really well. And James is still doing church. We've got something actually in the works. It's a major change actually, but we're not ready to announce it yet. But it's a major change from everything that we've been doing. And it's gonna people are gonna be like, whoa. And that's like promotionally, that's gonna be one of the biggest changes we've had in 10 years. So I'm gonna leave that out there.
I was gonna say, you can't drop it here. Like you heard it first at Running Errands, but no. Just gonna hold on to that.
Because we haven't given up by any means, but like, whether people want to face it or not, Toronto now has one of the smallest scenes in North America. People always say, talk about us being the big scene. We haven't been that for years.
That's the truth.
That's just the truth. The sad truth.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But hey, you know what? I'm going to sign off to the listeners, but I want to talk to you a little, so stay on the phone with me, okay, buddy?
Sure, no problem.
All right, that was him, Marcus Visionary. As always, I hope you enjoy listening as much as I enjoy chatting. And until next time, peace out.